Straw Hut Media.
You have junk in both your eyes.
Oh, awesome. That was there the whole time?
Probably. You don't look in the mirror before you go on camera?
You heard it. I heard it like squish.
Yeah, I was like, it's like
it sounded juicy.
This right in the middle, like right in
Ew.
the Oh, yeah, it's... All right, welcome back to the pod. Another episode of Confess Your Mess. Reminder, if you want to get your secrets or your confessions on our podcast, head to confessyourmess.us.
Say it again.
You can write it. You can be anonymous. You can even leave us a voice note.
Why you didn't say it again?
Confessyourmess.us. There it is. Also, our guest this week was so much fun. Sarah Whittle, Rude Unicorns. She's talking marriage advice, marriage and relationships. If you're in one, you're trying to get into one, lots of gems she's dropping.
Yeah.
So good.
And we there's some juicy secrets. And yes, it's amazing. I did not expect the episode to go the way it did in terms of the therapy that we got.
It was a therapy session.
Yeah.
Should we just get into it?
I say so.
Confess your mess.
Before I introduce our guest, last week's episode, we highlighted one of our listeners. We still don't have a name for the fan of the week or whatever we're going to call it yet, but let's go ahead and pick one of the most recent comments. We're
giving a shout out right at the top of the show.
We're giving a shout out.
Let's do it.
Quincy Chass on Tuesday says,
okay,
I'm all in. I ran across Confess Your Mess by accident the other day, and when I saw that it was AJ and Emile, I had to give it a listen.
Okay.
I followed them on Instagram, and I loved their love. After listening to the sex positive episode, they instantly became friends in my head. I'm all in. I love they said I'm all in twice. Like, that makes me happy.
Like they're really in. Also, we are friends, not just in your head. So thank you for that.
Right. You listen, you're friends with us.
Really kind review on Apple Podcasts, which is what the rest of you need to go do immediately, please. And thank you.
Yes.
Our dog, Kingston, I swear to God, if you knock over this tripod.
Get away from the tripod.
Our dog is so cute. And we have like this really lush bed over here to the side that we've bought now 3 times because every time he messes it up, we buy him a brand new one because we're bougie. And he doesn't like to lay in the bed. He likes to lay between the tripods, the camera setup, and the wires. So
and he also likes the bed to be nearby, but he just doesn't want to lay in it.
We're really living on the edge today, people.
Let me introduce our guest, because our guest is, as you would say, a rude unicorn.
I dressed for it. I thought this was the most like rude unicorn-esque thing I could.
I didn't dress for it. I just happened to be wearing pink, but it goes with with
Sure
the name. But Sarah Whittle is our guest. So Sarah Whittle, I've actually known probably for, I joined Clever in 2016. So whatever that math is, like 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
So she is a TikToker. You may have seen her TikToks. You may have seen her cats that have gone viral multiple times now. But she always does really fun videos. She's a social media and marketing guru. She just moved from LA to Colorado, which was big news. She's been married for 3 years, just celebrated her 3-year anniversary.
To an Italian stallion, by the way.
With her adorable husband. And she's been all over the place. So she's worked for Game Show Network, and Smosh, of course.
Yes.
But also she used to work for Clever, where that's where I met her, because Clever used to be owned by a previous company. And then they also owned Smosh. And we got laid off together. So that was a fun time in life. We'll always have that moment to bond over. But anyway, so excited to have the Sarah Whittle, the Rudy Unicorn, on the pod. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. You guys are so kind. I'm so excited to be on this podcast. Thank you so much for having me. Emile, I can't believe we've known each other for 5 years now. And I know we really bonded last year over our barefoot sponsorship together, because we both had a barefoot sponsorship. And then AJ, I wanted to save this for the podcast, but I've known about you for quite some time, because I remember when I initially came out to LA, I was doing the hosting thing. I wanted to be in front of the camera hosting, red carpets. I was kind of trying all that kind of stuff out in my in front of camera journey. And I saw you hosting all these different shows in LA, red carpets and everything. And I was like, how can I get that kind of career? Obviously, my dreams have changed and shifted, and I'm very happy where I am. But I will say you were one of my inspos for a very long time, because I just thought you were hustling and doing a lot of great work out there.
Oh, thank you. That actually makes me feel very, very special, because we oftentimes, struggle with that idea, does anybody know we exist? Right. And I look at you and I look at you and I'm like, 140-some thousand Instagram followers. Like, I want to be like you when I grow up. And yet here you are complimenting me. So you never know who's watching. That's really sweet. Also, low key, I host a national radio show and I work like ungodly hours and I'm running on no sleep right now. So that like just pepped me up just a little bit. So I feel like I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this podcast. And also, I know we've got some secrets to reveal. I feel like I also was like, I also want to get to know you a little bit more just because you're married. And that's obviously the theme of our show today.
Yes.
But we're inching towards marriage. We just celebrated our 9-year anniversary, which is insane.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to? So I'm wearing, so we went to Disneyland recently. And I'm wearing the pin that they gave us, which, by the way, I'm still convinced it was magic because they said that a friend told us
nobody told
that you were recently engaged. The 2 friends we were with, they're like, we didn't tell anybody. And they randomly gave us these happily ever after pins. And then everybody started treating us special because they're like, oh, you're engaged.
Yeah, mine's still, mine's in the bedroom because I'm not wearing the shirt that I was wearing that day, Emile, but you still are.
It's a sweatshirt. I threw it on when it gets cold at night. But no, we're depending. There's a lot of pressure because we're depending on you to answer any marriage tips that or questions that we have.
Look, if this thing ever goes south, we're also going to pin that on you as well.
Right.
So
we're blaming. We're blaming Sarah Whittle. Yes.
Yes, exactly. I'll ruin it all in the 9th year. We're good. We're good here.
Ooh, she's sarcastic. I like her.
We're planning the wedding right now. So you did a destination wedding, but I know he's from Italy. But it's still hard doing a destination wedding. We're planning our wedding from Mexico, so there's a lot of challenges that have come with that, but we're very, very excited.
Yeah, we're actually hopping on a plane literally tomorrow.
Yeah.
The day after this podcast drops to fly down there and finalize some details and to try all the food and to pick out floral arrangements and flatware and all the kind of fun stuff. Because so far, like low-key, it hasn't been that much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's very, very stressful and it's very a big undertaking. But I would say, like, you know, you guys been together 9 years. My husband and I, we were together for about 1.5 years before we got engaged, and then I think we got married pretty quickly. So, like you said before, he's an Italian stallion. He's an immigrant from Italy, and we met in LA, and you know, it kind of like progressed from there, and he ended up being our forever, and we like found each other. We both moved to LA with big lofty like kind of TV and film dreams, and we ended up leaving with each other and finding way much more. So I am so proud. I know and I'm gonna cry probably because I'm an emotional full person, but I also like my relationship with my husband is one of the things that I am most proud of in my life. I'm so proud of what we do for each other, but what we do as a unit together as well. My wedding was like the most bougie extra thing I've ever done, and I will forever ever be proud of it and brag about it and show and be like, I got married in an Italian castle always because that shit was unreal. It was a dream. It was a perfect wedding. It was amazing.
No, and you looked stunning. We haven't picked outfits or colors, and we have a lot to do, but we're very, very excited that you're here to guide us, and we're excited that you're here to break down these secrets with us. So let's go ahead and get into the first secret. So we haven't seen or read any of these secrets. Our amazing producer Frank finds all the secrets. We ask that you submit your secrets through confessyourmess.us because you can give longer secrets. You can submit voice submissions, which I keep asking for every week. I want to hear a voice submission. But oh God, this first one is long. I did tell people to do more than one sentence.
Do you want me to read the first one?
No, I'll read it.
Okay.
This
trying to get that airtime, Sarah.
Anonymous female from Oregon. I've never been to Oregon. Okay. I've been married for almost 3 years to a guy that was born and raised in Kenya. He came to the States as a teenager and was able to stay with a student visa during college. After some time, he ran out of options and realized he had to get married to stay in the States. Never been in a relationship with her, doesn't contact or know where this woman lives, strictly on paper. 1 year after that, I met him in 2016 and we started our relationship. He proposed 2.5 years in. Then while we were planning everything, he drops the bomb on me that he's technically married and can't marry me until he divorces. Needless to say, we postponed everything, and after a lot of tears, he divorced after he received his U.S. citizenship in 2018. Then we got married a few months after.
Oh, wow. They still got married.
Wow.
I don't know if I mean, there's a level of trust there that I feel like was broken.
Yeah.
But also it's love. You know, there's a lot of layers to that.
Sarah, what if you're 1.5 years in, you and Claudio, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. You're planning a wedding, the wedding of your dreams. And all of a sudden he's like, okay, now listen, I do have a wife, by the way, and I should take care of that first. What's your first response?
I think I think I wouldn't have even gotten there yet. Because to be honest, Claudio and I, since Claudio is an immigrant, he was here on a student visa. And that was something that once we started getting more serious, we had to have straightforward conversations. So if I was dating someone that was on a visa, I would bring up the subject of like, hey, real talk, laws are a thing. Visas are a thing.
Yeah.
What is your situation? And giving them the runway to like really have that conversation. And I know that's such a boring answer, but when Claudio and I started getting serious, I kind of was like, how long are you here for? Because I like you, but I don't know how much to invest. So I think, obviously we all know that the best kind of relationship has communication. And obviously it sounds like he was trying to kind of not hide it, but it probably wasn't something that he was comfortable sharing. But after a year, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta talk to your girl about that. That's kind of a big deal. And I do realize that there are many marriages like that happen because of visas and stuff like that. But I just feel like you got to be open and honest about that kind of stuff because that's a big deal.
But also, to be fair, like sometimes you want it sucks, but sometimes you want them to become invested in the relationship because there's this fear of if I tell them from the start that I'm married and they don't want to know like the details of it wasn't love, it was just so I could stay here.
Is that fair to do to the girl though?
I don't necessarily think so, but they've been married for almost 3 years, so I guess it worked. Yeah. If I met you and you were married, AJ, I still would pursue.
I know you would because you a hoe.
No.
And I'm really cute.
Okay. Anonymous female. My best friend and I had a foursome with 2 guys, and we later realized they were married with kids.
Oh,
that's
yikes.
messy. That's really messy.
Wait, so is the best friend?
That's so messy.
Wait, is the best friend and I? Do we know if they're male or female?
It's a female, anonymous female. My best friend and
female.
I.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 women had a foursome with
2
2
guys,
men,
and they were married with kids. Here's the thing. So here's where I have issue because, and AJ and I talk about this. We don't judge, especially in the gay community. I'm not going to judge, and we don't judge in general your relationship. Everybody's relationship is their own private relationship, right? And whenever we see these celebrities come out and it's like, oh, scandal, they were caught cheating. I'm like, we don't really know the behind the scenes of if they have an open relationship or whatever. But
listen, we've all heard about Will Smith and Jada Smith.
We've heard stories all over Hollywood, but
who knows what's real?
Where I find the issue is when there's kids involved, just because
But that's a perfect example then, because we make the assumption, and I hear you, but we make the assumption that the kids are going to be hurt in this process, right? But then you look at, let's just say, for the sake of conversation, that all the rumors we've heard about Will and Jada Pinkett Smith over the years are true. That they're open or bisexual or swingers or all of these other things that we've all heard, right, in Hollywood. Their kids have turned out to be pretty dope. And maybe if it is true about them, maybe the fact that they were so open with their kids allowed their kids to not have all that sexual, emotional baggage that so many of us are burdened with by the time we're 20. So is it possible that maybe it's not actually about the kids? I want to know if these men's wives or their partners, if they actually know and if they're okay with it. That's a bigger concern to me.
I think I agree with you there, AJ, for sure. Because I think, polyamory, open relationships, like those kind of things are becoming more common now. Yeah. But just like every other relationship, it's not one size fits all. So where monogamy is something that Claudio and I have had many discussions about, like we're monogamous with each other because that's where our value is in our relationship. That is a way to show our commitment to each other. But for other couples, it's not so much. They like the polyamorous thing. They like having sex parties and stuff like that. And I think that's okay. I think it's really about the communication. And I think if those 2 married men came in being like, I'm single, ready to mingle, then there's like kind of an issue there.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's awkward. Yeah.
I'm always curious about this because with gay couples, it's one thing. But let's say you and Claudio, you're on your 10-year anniversary vacation. And you meet somebody, a woman, man, whatever, that you both are like, oh, wow, this person's very, very, very fascinating.
The yoga instructor.
Yeah, we're getting on a flight tomorrow heading home. Should we? We might never see this person ever again. Is that something you can even picture as a possibility in your relationship? Or is it like absolutely not off the table, never going to happen?
Good question.
You know what? We are very communicative couple, and whenever we see attractive people, male, female, non-binary, we are like, look at how hot they are. So we're not that type of couple that's very jealous of kind of like acknowledging that people are attractive or enticing or interesting or anything like that, because I think there are so many attractive people out there.
Yeah.
So why can't we, just be like, wow, you're attractive, you're killing it, whatever. I don't know. I don't think we're the type of people that have stern blanket answers.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I don't know if my dad will listen to this either. But honestly, I don't know.
I think that's the place to be, honestly.
It's a fair answer.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're so rigid and you're like, absolutely no, never, not going to happen, that's problematic for me. Because I'm like, you never know what life's going to bring you.
You never know what life brings.
And I grew up, though, where adults are like, absolutely not. My husband, if he looked at a single woman, he's never going to. And it's not.
It's not healthy. And it's starting to sound like a bit of a therapy session on AJ's side. So I'm going to move on to the next secret because we have quite a few. Okay. Anonymous female. My sugar daddy is an A-list celebrity with a wife and kids, and he just bought me a house and a car.
Wow.
Okay.
Will Smith could be back in this conversation again right now. No, not Will. No.
Here's the thing with secrets like this, in order for me to believe it, because I know about a sugar daddy, and buying a purse and letting me borrow the car is one thing.
Yeah.
A house and a car is a lot. Like actually buying that.
We're talking
someone.
like a house in like Ohio or like a house here.
Right. And this is a moment where I would like a voice note. I would like something to explain. We've been together. I met him at a bar at a red carpet event, and his wife doesn't know about me, but she also is open and she knows he does these things. Like, that's the type of stuff I want to hear. But I'm not going to get that.
We really just needed this therapy session with you to figure out how to get married and how to stay married, because you're doing it successfully. What, three years now since your marriage? Is that right?
Yeah, we were about together maybe for 2 years before we got married, and we just celebrated a couple days ago our 3-year wedding anniversary.
Way to get married right before a pandemic. Good call. We thought we were.
You know what? The timing was stellar. My mom was just like, hurry up, get married before we're too old. And I was like, okay. And then now we're looking back, I'm so glad we got married when we did.
That's interesting, because 2021 was always sort of in my brain as our wedding. We thought we'd get married June 2021. And that was sort of the plan. I had a whole huge plan on how I was going to propose to him. You mentioned like seeing me on red carpets earlier. I was going to propose to him either on a red carpet or one of our TV shows we're on. I'm on Wendy Williams a lot. He's on The Real.
Oh my gosh.
And I was actually talking with producers at the Wendy Williams show to maybe do it live on the air there and do a whole thing in New York City. And then the pandemic happened very quickly. And all of a sudden we went from, not only not getting married in 2021, here we're approaching 2022 and we're just now planning the wedding. So it's all worked out, but kudos to you for getting it in.
You were on top of it. You really were connected with the universe to make sure that
well done,
that everything worked.
Well, we also had outside factors like lawyers and visas and other things that we had to take into account. So, thankful for the rush because it happened all in the right time.
Exactly. Okay. Anonymous female. I never experienced orgasms until my husband. Best sex life ever.
Okay. So, when it comes to sex anatomy, the female orgasm, I see on like TV shows and movies, like, I've never had an orgasm. Is that a real thing?
Oh,
like, do you have to like teach a man how to take care of you?
Kinda, yes. Because it's also, a little more complicated maybe than the male anatomy. And also a lot of, media out there is very centered around the male pleasure rather than female pleasure. So I think relatively, like, it's a difficult situation. I will say that just like all relationships, it's not one size fits all. So I think I've heard, from all my girlfriends in past, like, everyone gets off on something different and sometimes it changes as time goes. So I think, for her, if she's having the best sex of her life with her husband, congratulations, jackpot. If he's a great communicator, wow, you got yourself a great guy. So I think it's really that. And, like you guys said earlier about really opening up on what you like and what you don't like is such an important part of any relationship, any marriage. And if it's not vibing and not feeling right, especially in a long-term relationship or marriage, I think finding out a way to communicate it without it being negative or a traumatic conversation is so important in relationships, not only when it comes to sex talks.
I know that because the anatomy is different, but I know that for, a guy, it can feel nice, but then the orgasm will be the ultimate feeling. But for a girl, since every guy can't make a girl orgasm, if you are, and I'm not saying this has to be with Claudio necessarily.
Is
just in general,
orgasm like the goal?
Yeah, is orgasm the goal, or can you just have sex and it still be nice without orgasming?
I think for women, it's all different, right? Some women aren't satisfied unless they orgasm. Whereas like, I think for the most part, men, that's kind of like always the end goal.
Yeah.
Even though like the journey may be different.
Because
for women, I don't
pout.
think it is.
We will full on pout if we don't get to finish. Like we will like throw a tantrum.
Exactly. And I think unfortunately, because of like how sexuality has been that we've all experienced, it's not really focused on the female orgasm. So in a way, you know, women kind of like choose their own adventure, what they find satisfying and what they find not satisfying.
Okay. It's the journey. Okay.
It depends who you are.
But if a woman wants that to be the end goal, that should very much also be a focus of whoever her partner is.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay, anonymous female. There's a lot of females that submitted.
A lot of anonymous ones.
They're in their marriages and they want to talk. Okay, anonymous female. I realize I don't want to be married anymore. Oh, I don't know how to break it to my husband.
Oh, that's hard.
I have no experience in that, so.
That's sad. Like, okay, what if one of your best girlfriends came to you and were like, listen, I've been married for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and I'm just over it. I'm not happy anymore. But he's like the nicest guy in the world. Because it sounds like she doesn't want to hurt this man, so he must be a decent person.
Yeah.
They're just over it. What do you tell your friend? What do you say?
Well, I think for me, I've always kind of like viewed our marriage as like, you know, in a way it is a contract, right? You're contractually being like, you're going to hold up your end of the game, I'll hold up mine. Together we're better, you know? And I think sometimes in marriages and relationships, one person may grow in a different way that is going into a direction that isn't the direction of you together. And it's not going to fit anymore. And so I think the easiest like example is if someone just like turned into an asshole. If all of a sudden your husband became an asshole, then they're not kind of honoring that contract, those vows that you had for each other. And so in a way, you're no longer with that person. This person is changing into another journey, into another path that you are no longer included in because they're being an asshole.
That's so
I
real.
think in that way, you're violating the contract. You're violating the relationship together and everything like that. So in a marriage, and this is Claudia that him and I have talked about, is like, if you're growing in a different journey than me and it's in a way that isn't honoring our relationship, then we have to reassess it.
Oh, that's real. I think my biggest fear with us in our relationship, because I'm almost 10 years older, and I think early on, it's never really been about the sex stuff for me. I'm not really worried that he's going to go cheat on me, or that he's going to want to sleep with somebody else. Because if he really, really, really wants to have another sexual experience, we can talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but we can talk about it. And sometimes just talking about those things like eases the pressure or the urge. And then you feel like, okay, I feel seen. I'm so much more attracted to you now because you allowed me to have this conversation with you. So now you're all I need again, right? But my bigger concern was that meeting him at such a young age. How old were you? 22?
Yeah, I was 22.
22. And were you 21?
No, I was 22.
22. So meeting him at age 22, my concern was this guy's great, but he's changing daily, weekly right now and growing so quickly that I don't know if I can fall fully in love with him because I was, at that time, I was almost 30. And so, or no, I was 30. I was 33.
No.
32?
You were
32 or
31.
Okay, well, I'm 9.5 years older than you. So, so 31. So, I'm really good with numbers also.
You guys are great with math.
So good at it,
I'm good. Just play it back and notice he's the one that's questioning my math.
No, I'm terrible. I'm trash at math. It's fine. But I'm in my early 30s. I know who I am for the most part. At least I thought I did. But my concern was that he was just going to change and not be, you know, and he should be allowed to. He should be allowed to grow up and discover who he is. So it took me a solid 4 or 5 years to really be like, I'm in this thing, but like, okay, I'm going to marry this man.
Yeah, because I evolved and I changed for the better. And
for the most part, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. I love you. I adore you.
I was like, wait a minute. And now I'm fabulous and wonderful. And, you know, I'm just amazing.
And this is the thing. You guys will continue to change.
Yeah.
That's like inevitable. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person as I was 3 years ago. So change is inevitable. I think it's all about when you're in a marriage and when you're in that kind of like committed relationship, keeping the relationship as a priority so that while you are growing personally, the partnership is also a big part of that.
Yeah.
It's not everything, but it is a part of it.
That's real.
So it's like if me and Claudio ended up going on different paths and growing in different ways, then that's a conversation that needs to happen because ultimately we're not following through on our
She's
vows.
dropping gems today. People,
listen,
if you're single or if you're newly dating somebody, you got to be listening to this thing and share it with every single one of your friends.
Exactly.
Because this is the key to a successful marriage, apparently.
Completely agree.
Did I say successful? Successful?
Successful.
I can't say it. I can't say it, but successful. Ooh.
Successful. Do you have a successful marriage? That could be
cute.
a thing. That
That's
could be a
cute.
thing.
All right, what's the next secret?
Cute.
All right. Anonymous female. I told my husband that I went vegan, but I actually didn't, and I eat meat when he's at work.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's my favorite one so far.
How petty. How petty.
Wait. So he must be a vegan. Like, why would she be like, yes, I'm also vegan, honey? Why would she say that if he weren't also a vegan?
Wait.
So, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I have nothing. I have friends who are vegans. We have friends who are pescatarians. Like, again, I'm not going to judge or condemn anyone's dietary choices.
Yeah, I just don't trust them.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But I will say for whatever reason, so I go through phases, Sarah. I love bacon. Like, I have an unhealthy obsession
I
with
love bacon too.
Okay,
I love it.
This is not sponsored, but Neiman Ranch bacon.
Oh my God.
It's like $10 a pack. It's
if
like
you've never
10
tried
slices.
It is so good.
Okay.
He went through a phase where I would come home from work. I host a national radio show. I'm at work at 5 a.m. every day.
Mm-hmm.
Low key 5:30. I'm always late. But I would get home at 10 a.m., 10:15. And he's got 4 or 5 strips of bacon on a plate.
Okay, first of all, 4 is the max because the strips are so thick you can't put 5.
And I can't even tell you. I would ask him like, "Oh, could I have some?" And he would be like, "Look at me, glare at me, begrudgingly give me 1 max."
Okay, let me defend myself in the court of Sarah Whittle. Let me defend myself really fast here. Okay,
Judge Judy, I'm over here.
Judge Whittle. Okay, here we go. So the bacon, it literally is $10 for a pack. And there only are like 8 pieces in a pack.
I've established this.
There's 8 pieces in a pack. I'm
8.
explaining why I didn't want to give you a piece.
It's like $1.25
exactly.
a slice.
And so I'm like, I paid for this and I cook these pieces. And here's the thing. Sometimes he comes home at 10:15. Sometimes he comes home at 11:30 or 12. So I'm thinking these are my pieces. And then he walks in. I'm like, oh. So now you understand.
He hates sharing food.
So now.
Okay, here's my take.
Yes.
Here's my take because I, 1, love bacon. And 2, understand about the sharing food thing.
Here we go.
Claudio, he will let me eat anything off of.
Well, he's Italian. He's Italian. It's family style, of course.
He doesn't even care. And then I'm like always like, but that's like my piece of bacon. But I think I'm, in a way, I'm like, well, he does it for me, I'll do it for him. So, it's 1 piece of bacon to show that I want to share his taste buds have a party too, so he can take a slice.
Listen, no, this is
apparently the Judge Whittle show has been canceled. Any verdicts that were recently made are invalid, null and void. Thank you. Before we get to Sarah's secret, we're gonna do this last secret. Anonymous female, I'm madly in love with my husband, and I check him out on the regular, and my dirty fantasies are of him. Oh,
that's
a very wholesome secret.
Oh no, that's a good.
That's
secret.
not a secret.
It shouldn't be a secret to your husband, and that's the key here.
Yeah.
You need to let your husband know you feel that way about him. She might
tell him those fantasies.
She might be because she might be thinking to herself that might weird him out a bit if I'm too aggressive.
Yeah.
But when you listen, and it goes back to that talk that you and I had years ago that you shared earlier in the pod.
Yeah.
When you really open up about the deep, dark, kinky stuff.
Yeah.
Because most people are afraid of that, but we all have the thoughts. We all have the desires and the fantasies. And when you really actually open up about this stuff, when he's let me know some things that he feels about me before in the past, I'm like, damn, you want to do that?
Oh, wait.
That's so hot.
Our producer, Frank, they wrote me a note because it's a Google Doc where you see our notes in, and Frank added a note. He's like, there's more to the secret. It says, and also I enjoy, for one of the fantasies, I enjoy in my fantasy him taking a potted plant pulling the worms out and us sharing it, Lady and the Tramp style.
Wait, what? This just got
Why
real
did,
weird.
What?
I
Where
just
did
I just
this
made I just
twist
made that
Oh
up.
my God, you're
I
so
just made that up.
stupid.
That was
You
amazing.
got me.
I hate you. Wedding's off. We're loving having you here, but you didn't come here just to hang out with us and just to sort of give advice to others or laugh at others, as we often do. You came to also confess your mess. So I'm curious to know the secret, the confession that you have for us that you've not shared anywhere else. Dish it.
No. We gotta wait. We gotta do every week. So Sarah,
we got to do our thing.
Yes.
Okay, here's the thing. We're trying to do a thing. You know how we've only done this for a couple of months now, so it's time to do our thing. You ready for it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah
I'm
Whittle.
so ready.
Sarah Whittle. It's time to confess your mess.
Mm.
Well, that was good.
That was so nice. That was so nice and like a nice tone. That was sexy.
See?
Okay, my confession. I had to think of what confession I'm okay sharing with the public.
Okay.
Because I will be honest, I used to be a very big mess. When I first moved to LA, I had recently gotten out of a pretty long-term relationship, so I was ready to have fun, to kiss a lot of boys, and really, I was like having a lot of fun on the dating apps as well because I'm a big extrovert. So I was like, let's meet people.
What was your favorite app? I've only ever been on Grindr, and that was straight up for a hookup. But what was your favorite app, really quickly?
I don't think I had a favorite app. I had some apps that I really, really despised. Coffee Meets Bagel was...
I just learned about this the other...
On our last episode,
yes.
we just found out about that's a real thing, apparently, that people
that's
know
where-
about it.
That's where I heard about
Yeah,
it.
Cornelia, literally.
On Confess Your
How
Mess.
long? So this has been out for years?
It was out when I was dating in like
wild.
2015.
Coffee Meets
But it
Bagel.
was very, I think it was pretty early on in its like app.
I know Grindr, Scruff, and Tinder. That's it.
That's wild. Okay, back to your secret though.
Yes, yeah. So my secret was I was at that time in my life having a lot of fun, kissing a lot of people a lot, and I was a big commitment-phobe. Still am. I cannot commit to anything. And when I first met Claudio, I thought he was just gonna be this hot, sexy, Italian accented man that I'd see only a couple of times. Turns out that we're married for 3 years. So that's my confession that I originally thought he was just a hot hookup, and now we're married.
Wait, you're telling us right now that Claudio, your husband, who you married in a castle in Italy 3 years ago, was a booty call at first? That's all you planned?
Yup.
Wait,
boy, yep.
Does he know that now? Does he love that?
Oh, we were both doing that to each other. I think like we were both like just having fun, thinking very attracted to each other, enjoying each other's company. And then it was like after a couple more times of hanging out, we're like, this is like easy. This is fun. This is everything. And then like, 3 months later, we were like, are we together? Are we not? And then eventually we kind of like broke through after we had that initial conversation of like, what are we doing? And then since then we kind of just played everything by ear. Just really went with our gut and what we were compelled out of each other to do together as a relationship, and here we are.
That's actually super, super real. And if you're listening, if you're single or if you're like just dating somebody right now and you're in that weird transitional period where you're not really sure if you're looking for something, you're not really sure if you can trust the thing that you just found, it doesn't always go the way you plan.
Exactly.
I thought I was so in love with so many people in my 20s. And even not long before Emile, a couple years before Emile, I met a guy, and it was like lightning. We were at a bar on Cinco de Mayo. I felt the energy. We looked across the room. It was one of those moments. I never had one like that. And I walked up to him, and I said, do you feel that? He said, that energy between us? And I said, yeah. It was the strangest thing. I've never experienced it. Our first date was on a Thursday night. I left his apartment on a Monday. It was a long first date. We were just low-key getting it in all weekend long. It was a hot first date. I leave. I tell my mom I met the man I'm going to marry. I was head over heels for this guy. 3 months later, it ended in a fiery just ball of... It was terrible.
Literally, it was a fire. It was on Sunset.
And
that whole apartment
stop
building.
it. But he was not the man I thought he was. I fell hard, and I fell out of it very quickly. Never spoke to him again. And with Emile, I was not looking.
Let me tell this part. With Emile, he was not looking, and also when we first got together, I think AJ just has a pattern of getting himself in relationships, and he got into a relationship with me, not really wanting to be in a relationship with me, and then he kind of like stayed for a while, and he was like,
we were friends for like 4 or 5 months before we even went on a date though.
Yeah,
and so it kind of snuck up on me.
He showed me his junk outside one time just so I knew what he was working with. Out by a car. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'll keep pursuing this. But
AJ, what a style.
I know,
that
was the priest. Like, we're not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna kiss you, we can hug, but like, hey, just so you know what I'm working with. Peekaboo, there you go.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Listen, it worked. It's 9 years later and he is not going anywhere.
Here. Wait, okay, so Sarah,
I can't believe you just told that.
For every we confess everything. So here's what's funny. He's bright red blushing right now because he always reveals all of my secrets, everything without asking me. So I'm glad that I finally had one come out where he is actually turning red right now. Yeah, he did that.
Judge Whittle approves.
Your mom's gonna listen to this. She's gonna like, you're pulling your dick out outside. Okay. That's not what
I did it the
that is
other
not
day.
what his mom sounds like at all, by the way.
No, I did not.
So Sarah, for every single episode, we like to ask our guests to give us their takeaway of the day. Something that you took away from this podcast that really resonated with you, or something silly. It doesn't really matter.
Or you can just drag us if you want to. That's fine too.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Well, I will say this stood out. Emile is like a little actor over here. He pranked us.
He did.
He's a little actor.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had the like little acting side to you. That's great.
Sarah,
I'll say this exactly. I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
He won Best Actor in high school.
I sure did.
And he played every role in his like senior year.
All the lead male roles. I played three lead roles. So in between scenes, like when we were go backstage.
Westlake High School, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, Dr. Luckett, thank you so much for the opportunity. Sherelle Luckett, she's amazing.
Somebody also pushed him off stage one time and he broke both his wrists.
AJ, we're focusing on the positive here. I played the 3 lead roles. I would go backstage. I would change my shirt, throw a wig on, do this, and then I'll come back out, and it was me. I had like a little fake mustache for one, a fake beard, and then my long-haired wig was actually my mom's wig. It was the whole thing. Anyway,
that's amazing.
Listen, when you got it, you got it.
Yeah, so you guys should.
I didn't know you were a theater kid. I was a total theater kid too.
Listen,
perfect.
Y'all never invited me over to the Smosh side. I really could have executed my talents over there to show. I was just the entertainment news, but I have my acting skills too. I just don't use them anymore.
Missed opportunities.
I know. All right,
Sarah, you're wonderful.
We love you so much. Congrats on your move. Congrats on your 3-year anniversary. We didn't even talk about your cats, but we don't like cats, so that's probably why.
Congrats on turning the occasional booty call into a marriage.
I know.
Well done.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for joining us and confessing your mess.
Yes, and I'm so sorry that your show, Judge Whittle, was canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I think I will survive. I have a lot of other ideas up my sleeve that I'll be pitching to the execs. Thank you so much for having me. If you guys seriously have any questions about planning the wedding, or if you need a pep talk, or if you need me to talk you off a ledge, please reach out and text me. Emile and I, you were such a close friend during this last year being remote, and it's so weird that we like barely even hung out in real life, but I feel so close to you guys, and I love watching what you're doing on social media, and I'm always here to support, so y'all are killing it. Love you guys.
Love you, Sarah.
Okay, that's the promo. Cut
that's
the
other bit.
promo.
Confess your mess.
Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh.